Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, friends. Welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures from right here in the Impact Power Sports Studio. Online at impactpowersportsmi.com. And they are located in Rockford, Michigan, right on 14 Mile Road. If you are interested in getting a golf cart, perhaps a Yamaha golf cart or a Easy Go, you know. And not to mention, they have snowmobiles, they have motorcycles, e-bikes. The list goes on and on. Go-karts. Lots of fun things for you to check out at Impact Power Sports. Let's see here. Bob says, did you get the email I sent about free beer? Today's show was full of content, but the two that I caught was at about 7:30 a.m. Free Beer read a comment from a listener that said, I also suffer from male pattern baldness like Free Beer. The other was during, I'm sure that was probably, he better have laughed at that. The other was during a game that they played called the Minute of Mayhem. When talking about the contestant before, Free Beer did what had to be the quickest, just kidding, ever. Outstanding. Keep it up. Chris says they discussed his hair for a while. I also heard through the grapevine, it was Adam Balboa who texted me with a tip for who are these free beers. He says at 6:30 this morning, they're having a spelling bee. And it's like they are deliberately trying to give you material. There is no laughter, no arguing, just free beer saying, spell this word. Someone tries to spell it, and then they move on to the next person. Fun. Outstanding. The Who Are These Free Beers / Ben and Eric Patreon podcast happens this week on Thursday. So we'll be doing that. And you're invited to join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Eric Zane. David says, I know you got my email, EZ. No way in hell I'll get on another plane. This is involving the Delta Airlines one. More on that in a second. Last night, I needed to be burped. And I'm not kidding you, like a baby. You're like, what the hell? Yes. So, this was so weird. Now I know what your baby felt like, or what your baby feels like when the kid, if you like don't burp the kid, you know how you like put the bottle in the kid's mouth and then you got to burp the baby? Skipping the burping is not like anything that should ever happen. The child always has to burp, or else they get air in their stomach and it's painful. And then they get pissed and they hate you. I'm the same way. I actually caused myself to get too much air into my stomach. I had this smoothie, and I kind of consumed it much too quickly. And the second there was like some type of like backfire or fucking hiccup that happened somewhere when I was consuming it, and I felt it, and I think I got like a big blast of air that just kind of went down and immediately felt uncomfortable. So, like, I'm trying to get it out, and it won't happen. So I went downstairs, and I did P90X. And the whole time, I was like, God, this is terrible. I kept feeling like I had to puke. Somehow managed to get the workout done. Did my ab ripper X. I thought for sure I'd be able to make this. Because I was reading that your posture can help you get the gas out. Now, this is right at the start of my digestive system. It's not like mixed in the colon so that I have to fart. It wants to go up. So I go, walk into the bedroom. I go, hey, and Pooh Bear's laying in bed. I go, I need your help. She goes, what is it? I go, I need you to burp me like a baby. And this woman could not stop laughing. So I get on the floor and I like lean on her a little bit and she's patting my back. There. Come on. Where is it, big guy? And I'm just sitting there like this and I can feel the air bubble moving. I shit you not. And then out of the blue, oh my God. Life-changing. It was such a relief. She literally saved me from a night of agony. I was like giving myself colic. I was going to become a colicky baby. It worked. Hey, you laugh. It worked. All right. I couldn't wait to tell you that, though. Remarkable. Grown man having to get burped. And a lot of this, well, all of it stems from, trying to consume my food too fast. And this is just a smoothie, but still, I always do this. I am embarrassing if I don't conscientiously tell myself, hey, slow down. I cannot wait to just, my God. Bob says, imagine if that bubble made it to the other end. It might have killed me. This could have led to some type of weird stroke or something like that. Jeremy says, next you're going to ask her to change your diaper. There are adults who are into that. I know, it's horrible. Hang on, I got to drink this. We had a couple of NFK moments that need to be discussed. My world-famous brother-in-law. He was frustrated, and he gets so pissed off at these dogs that one day, I'm actually afraid to leave him alone with them. And I guess I come walking into the kitchen, and he says, I tried to feed the fucking cat, and Darla was all pissed off and wouldn't let the cats eat. And he's just pissed. So I just look at him, and I go, oh. No big deal. I'll do it. Yeah, just dogs being dogs, cats being cats. Just grunts, walks away. Today, he comes walking up, and this is just before I started the show. And it's the same question as I get every day. Are the Gold or the Griffins playing this week? And I said, yes. And he said, are they? And I said, yes, again. And then I'm about to tell him, he goes, when? And now he wants to know, so I'm going to give him a clear, concise answer. Now, I want it to be just laced with sarcasm, but I don't do that. And the second that I start to tell him the days of the games, he puts his cup up to the ice maker and the ice starts fucking flying out of the thing. It's loud as hell. He doesn't hear anything I say. So I go, oh, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, believe it or not. And then I realize that he's not even listening to me. Justin is here. He says, good morning, EZ and everyone. Cleaning snow off the sidewalks downtown today. What downtown again? Is that Kalkaska? Someplace way up there in the Northland? Yeah, way up north in northern Michigan. It's just been Charlevoix, I guess. Okay, that's a fantastic place. It's just been nuts with the amount of snow that these people have been getting. Quite a bit. Cold as hell where I am. We've got temps about 0 today to start the day. Hard to believe that we are now inching our way towards spring. I mean, here we are, the 18th of February. And then once you get into March, though, then you're like, because isn't that the month where they say in like a lion, out like a lamb? So you got that. You got baseball. Spring training is underway now. We've got the Daytona 500 under our belts. The days are getting longer. Chris says it doesn't feel close. It's 4 degrees. I know, but it's going to be a quick turn. It's going to be like cold, cold, cold. And then all of a sudden, you're going to get a day that it's like 45, 50 degrees. I see murder lover Linda is here. Last couple of days, I've been talking with her about the OJ documentary. She's also suggested a Gabby Petito documentary on Netflix, and I kind of said, I don't know if I can watch any more of those. The OJ thing kind of fried my brain. The level of anxiety I get from these documentaries is just, I don't know. But Linda loves them. She watches them like you wouldn't believe. And that's why she points out Charlevoix is where John and Patsy Ramsey had a summer home. You'd know that because you probably waited outside of it taking stalker-like pictures. That's what I expect you would do, at least. And hats off to murder lover Linda. She finally is employed. So that is good. Congrats on the job. Okay, we are off and running on this edition of the Eric Zane Show podcast. I got a lot of things to share with you, including this story about, okay, so remember I talked to you about Rockford, Michigan, where Impact Power Sports is? Well, there's a guy from the community of Rockford who is pissed off that his ex-girlfriend has moved on with her life. The girlfriend met a guy online in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. The guy, the ex in Michigan here, not far from where I'm at right now, doesn't like that she has been communicating with dude in Bensalem, PA. But he has no say in this. She's moved on. He has not. He drove to Bensalem, Pennsylvania, to where the guy lives. Nick says, I think you got that backwards. The nut was from Bensalem. I don't think I do got it backwards. What the hell are you talking about? Look at the headline, dick. Rockford man traveled to Pennsylvania to burn home of ex-girlfriend's online love interest. That is 100% what I said. Why are you destroying my story, asshole? Did you wake up today and say, I'm going to undermine EZ and fuck up his story today on the Eric Zane Show podcast? Was that your goal? He says that headline is wrong. I don't think it is, asshole. This is when you say, oh, oops, I fucked up. I should have not said anything. I was doing great. You make it seem like when I prepare the show that I don't know these goddamn stories forward, backward, left, right, in and out. What the hell is wrong with you, you fucking idiot? Yeah, you got it wrong. It's all messed up. This is how it should be. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. My God, it's like a fucking story's gone around the world 5 times. Everybody knows this story. Oh, yeah, now you're quiet. You fuck. Various folks in the audience are suggesting that Nick in the arena gets a timeout. I made it like 1 second into that story, and then you ruined it, dick. All right. Enjoy your time out, you dumb bastard. Jesus. Anyway. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, Ding Dong is pissed off that his girlfriend has got a new online love interest. He drives from here all the way to Pennsylvania, pulls up in front of the house very early in the morning, and you see his car pull up. You see him get out of the car with something in his hand. He runs out of the view of the camera. And he's somehow lighting the house on fire. And he was successful. Then you see him running away from the house to get back in the car. By the way, he had some burns on his arms. There were several people in the home. They all got out safely, but there was some injuries. Or there were some injuries, I should say. In this. Like, it wasn't... It was rough. The fire completely engulfed the 2-story single-family home, resulting in total loss of the home. And two of their dogs died. The 6 adults were taken to the hospital after escaping from the house, some of whom jumped out of a 2nd-story window to escape the flames. Idiot had an incendiary device, as seen on the video footage. Now, what's next is a perfect example of why it's nearly impossible these days to get away with anything because of how pervasive cameras are. There was a camera on the house that could see when he pulled up, and then they matched the time that happened with the area cameras at like stoplights and whatnot, and they could quite literally watch him travel from where the blaze was, the various intersections locally. They see him get on the interstate, like there's plate readers, and there's various tolls you have to go through and shit like that, and plate readers have him plotted all the way back across Pennsylvania and to the route all the way back to Rockford, Michigan. And this idiot, I'm telling you, there's no way to get away with anything these days. And that's outstanding. This is why whenever I see cameras everywhere and people are like, yeah, that's Big Brother watching us. And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Thank God. So we can catch fucking idiots like this guy. Jesus. let's see. Detectives used the intersection cameras to spot the Volkswagen Passat with the Michigan registration. It came back to Brian Jones of Rockford, Michigan. After interviewing residents of the destroyed home, police discovered that a 21-year-old man who lived at the home had an online relationship with a woman who lived in Michigan. See, what they said there, that's not the other way around, like dumb fuck Nick suggested. And was supposed to come to Ben Salem to meet in person for the first time this week. Police identified the ex-boyfriend of the Michigan woman as Harrison Jones of Rockford, Michigan, who lives in the same address as Brian Jones, who had the vehicle registered to him. Cops seized the vehicle, lock-picking devices, his cell phone, and his computer. Police noted he also had burn marks on his arm. He's been charged with 6 counts of attempted homicide, as well as arson, risking catastrophe, and related endangerment charges. He was arrested by deputies with the Kent County Sheriff's Office and is awaiting extradition back to Pennsylvania, the police department said. Nick, am I getting any of this wrong? Is there anything that you want to go over in your notes about this story that I might have botched? I don't think so. It's pretty much perfect. But if you want to go ahead and maybe like fact check what the fuck is going on here, totally up to you. Dumbass. This is video of, or I should say a picture of the home. It's a total loss. This is actually a pic of the house burning from above. My God, what an idiot. Over a chick. The key point here is that the cops say the Rockford man drove to Pennsylvania to burn the home of his ex-girlfriend's online love interest. Jeremy says, did he at least get the girl back? I don't know. Maureen says to Nick, let me welcome you to the Maureen and Chris ×2 podcast. By the way, Amanda and murder lover Linda are aggressively excited about the upcoming podcast I'll be doing with them. I haven't yet established a date to discuss American Manhunt, O.J. Simpson. Now, these two, I'm more doing it for their benefit, okay? Because they love this stuff so much. I think it's pretty much their time to shine. That's how excited they are about this, because we all know how anything murder-related, that usually makes Linda quite moist. And I think the same goes for Amanda, too. So look forward to that. Folks, if you're watching the show on Facebook or YouTube, I'm going to kick you out. If you want the rest of this show, it's on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. So you can watch it live as it happens. There's plenty more of the show left to do. So head over to Twitch, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live, or download the Twitch app and search @Eric Zane Live. That's how you find me. The audio of this podcast becomes the audio podcast later on. I publish it on all of the usual platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or whatever one you're on, whatever one you consume the show on. Thank you for that. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you want to reach out to me, do so on the Shoreliners Striping inbox. Shoreliners can stripe the parking lot or the athletic field for you. You can send it along, Eric@ericzaneshow.com. Not to mention the Patreon, which I talked about earlier. Each and every day, I put up new content on my Patreon. And you can go there and get 7 days free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Yesterday, a gentleman reached out to me by the name of Paul Purdy. And I think I kind of want to spell this out for you the same way it laid out for me. But just checked in out of the blue, and I got to reading the what he wrote, and this is what he said. Hello, Eric. My name is Paul Purdy. Now, sometimes when you see these things, they could be like made by AI or something like that. So, I want to read a little further before I decide that. And then I figured out this is actually written by a human being. He says, I started a 501c3 charity called Cure CLCN6. When my now 8-year-old son, Paxton, was diagnosed with an ultra-rare neurodegenerative mutation on his CLCN6 gene. Now, that all sounds like a foreign language to you and I. But I guess there's a gene on my body and your body called CLCN6. This happened to 8-year-old Paxton in January of 24. He then created this 501c3. We are working with UMass Chan Medical School to develop a first-in-the-world gene therapy for this mutation. The thing about ultra-rare diseases is that the patient population is so small for most of them that the research and development into treatments and cures isn't prioritized by pharmaceutical companies or the government. It's up to middle-class families like ours to raise awareness and the funds needed to develop the treatments and clinical trials. Our project is going to cost $1.5 million. So I know exactly what he's talking about from my years with the AT Children's Project, which, they're still going on. But rare diseases, this is how you raise money. The bake sales, reaching out to others, lemonade stand, car wash, GoFundMe, whatever it takes. Why I am writing to you is to ask if you can encourage your audience to help us win a grant through Project for Awesome. By the way, as I pause, Nick in the arena, is there anything you want to correct about this? He continues. The top 30 charities by votes will receive a $30,000 grant. That's a long way from our goal, but it would be a huge win for us. The best part is that voting is free. This is a great way to raise awareness for our story and our campaign, and all it takes is 20 seconds of time. The votes are counted once per device, per organization. So the votes have to come from unique devices, laptop, phone, etc. If people have multiple devices, they can vote from all of them. I've included a link to our nomination page on Project for Awesome, which we'll look at that in a second, as well as the link to our website and our news stories on my son and our organization. So you can see that we are a legitimate charity that is trying to advance the cell and gene therapy field so our son can get the treatment he needs. Since we went public with our campaign in September, we've been contacted by 2 other families whose children also have this mutation. That's how rare this is. So what you got here is Paul and his lovely better half, Kristen. They were driven to do this because of the daunting task in front of them with their son's health. And in a short amount of time, they've come this far. At this point, I'm reading on. And he says, there is no treatment or cure and nothing can be done. That's what we were told initially by our medical team. There is no treatment or cure and nothing can be done. We know that this is not true and that the science and technology to develop a treatment and one day cure does exist, but it is up to us as rare disease parents to make it happen. He adds, I've been a fan of yours since I heard you 15 years ago on Free Beer and Hot Wings playing in Albany, New York. I no longer live in Albany. I live on the West Coast. I followed you because you were the one who always made me laugh. And boy, could we use some laughter in our lives. Then he wrote, I'm willing to pay for an advertisement or promotional rate because getting this grant would really help our campaign. Voting ends Wednesday, tomorrow, at 11:50. Wait a minute. It says 8:59 Eastern time. I think it's actually 11:59. But anyway, you get the idea. So I'm like, oh, my God, this guy wants to pay for it. This is ridiculous. Thank you for taking the time. So I happened to get that message right when it rolled in. Immediately responded. And I said, absolutely, let's do it. Let's do an interview today. Time is limited. Let's go. And when I talked to him, and I did interview him, and I posted it on Facebook, and I also posted the audio podcast. Maureen says Eric can post the links in the chat, but we can't, Chris. And I will get to that. That is coming up. But yeah, there's Chris and I chit-chatting, and the interview is all there. So click on Project for Awesome and vote for Cure CLCN6. So I am right now going to include the link in the chat of this show. And when you click on that, you'll like scroll down a little bit. I'll share this with you so you can see. You'll see this, Project for Awesome. These folks raise a ton of money, and then they just do this. They offer these grants. So from there, you scroll down. Nomination for Project for Awesome 2025, Cure CLCN6. Scroll down a little bit, and then there's a spot there. I already voted, so I can't vote again. I'm not a robot. Vote for charity. Could have swore I did this already. Anyway, I voted. You can do that too. What I just did, and away you go. So if you're watching the show right now, there you go. And then I'm going to include this in the audio links when I post the audio podcast. And if you could, click on that and vote as well. Trying to get these folks a $30,000 grant to help them along. While I have you, I might as well share famous
holding on to hope for a little boy
in Southern California did a story about these folks. Let's check that out. I understand that this isn't like a bunch of laughs, but I mean that's kind of like my brand. I like doing things like this, and I like being an asshole. But this is definitely full on Eric Zaitunian here, not Eric Zane.
Holding on to hope for a little boy in Murrieta with a rare genetic mutation. Paxton's parents say a gene therapy and clinical trial could help their son, but it costs millions of dollars.
Yeah, now they're trying to raise the money to help their son and others. Our Nicole Comstock has their story.
What's up? Where do you want to walk to? Mommy?
Come here, buddy.
Paxton Purdy is the sweetest little 7-year-old.
No matter what he's going through, no matter how many seizures he has or what a hard time he has, he is always this sweet, loving boy.
His parents say he has an ultra-rare neurodegenerative genetic mutation on his CLCN6 gene, a chloride channel in his brain that greatly impacts his central nervous system, causing autism, severe epileptic seizures, and affecting his ability to walk and talk.
And we're just trying to put all of our anxiety and this kind of dread, we're just trying to put it into some kind of tangible action, into raising awareness and ultimately raising the funds so that he can get this treatment that he needs.
But getting that treatment, creating a unique gene therapy for Paxton, and funding a first-of-its-kind clinical trial at a university is truly like shooting for the stars.
So about $3 million is our price tag.
Paul Purdy says Paxton's specific mutation has never been studied, meaning the gene therapy is experimental. While the technology is still in its infancy, they say a similar gene therapy has proven to be successful. So they're reaching out to the community, to the world actually, to help raise money for what Paxton needs.
I can't even describe that feeling. It would mean everything to us, yeah.
So my hopes for him, that he'll be able to regain some of his skills. He'll be able to walk again independently, be able to feed himself, regain some of his speech, that he can live a long, happy, healthy life.
But this isn't just about Paxton, they say. It's also for the advancement of gene therapy to help others.
You know, as a parent, like, once you get equipped with the knowledge that, like, there is something that can be done, the technology exists to develop treatments and one day even develop a cure, like, we're not resting until that happens.
In Murrieta, Nicole Comstock, KCAL News.
Well, Paxton's family says they would love to connect with other families who have children with genetic mutations. They tell us teaming up with another family might actually help them get their trial.
Yeah, and we have more information on our website, kcalnews.com. You'll find links inside this story online.
Okay, so that was published a few months ago. So that's it. You know, this all unfolded yesterday. So it happened very, very quickly. Paul was kind of like, it all happened so fast that he was like, had to process it. But we got after it because it's very important that this gets out, because we only have until tomorrow to get these votes in for these folks. So it just takes 15, 20 seconds of your time to vote. That's all we're asking for here. So I said to him, I go, buddy, you know, friends for life. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep this group that I have here updated on what's going on with you. And we'll take it as it comes. You know, and great job reaching out. I'm so glad you did. I've got a real soft spot in my ridiculously stupid heart for scenarios like this, as you well know. Now I've got another person to visit when I go to see Jeffrey in Los Angeles. You know, that'll be awesome. So God bless the Purdy's. Thinking about you folks. It's nice to have met you, and I'm excited about how we can get after this. And thanks to everybody in the audience who voted. Nick is weighing in after his earlier moment where he completely tried to destroy my story. I don't think he said, hey, I'm going to go and make up lies, but he gave absolutely wrong information about the story about the guy who traveled to PA to destroy the home of his ex-girlfriend's new love interest. And he goes, no, you got it backwards. It's this person was here. And then I'm like, no, that's not true, you idiot. Murder lover Linda says, Nick, our resident expert on rare diseases and arson cases. He adds, yup, it's rare, but I was wrong. The crazy police scanner lady posted about it, so I thought the fire was here. Wait a minute. You didn't even think the fire was in Pennsylvania? What is crazy police scanner lady? Is that something I should be paying attention to? By the way, it was yesterday. We had a story that we featured about a dude who ate mad honey and says that made him do crazy shit. If you weren't on Patreon, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But there was a story a handful of months ago where a dude and his family vanished. And he left his mother-in-law, and she's got dementia, and she's roaming around the neighborhood lost. They finally figure it out. This actually happened back in 2022. So dad, mom, and kids are gone. And no one knows what happened to them. And then they finally found him, and everybody said, false alarm. They're in Wisconsin. No big deal. Well, now dad has reached out to the TV station saying, yeah, I want to give you more information about what happened to me. But I don't think this was a good move because the guy seems like he's fucked up. I'll get to more on the story in a second unless Nick wants to ruin it. But Brian says Mad Honey Dude knew exactly what he was ordering when he made up this grandiose story when it went awry. And he wrote, I'm not entirely convinced he wasn't planning on murdering the family and blaming it on Mad Honey. You're like, what the fuck is Mad Honey? Let's get into it. I know I played it on Patreon, but this is worth it. Susan Samples, are you kidding me? Let's do this.
Some police protection immediately.
Okay, for what?
It is a vital national interest.
It was a mystery that began with an unsettling 911 call and turned into a cross-country search for a missing family of 4. Tonight, more than 2 years after a vanishing that made national news, Target 8 has the inside story from the Fremont family that lived it. The Siriglianos sat down with Target 8 investigator Susan Samples to talk about a father's psychotic break and warn West Michigan about the sweet treat that they believe triggered it.
Fremont is a hard living line area. October 16th, 2022, 12:40 a.m.
Nuevo County 911.
Yes, hello. This is Anthony John Sirigliano. Everyone is okay, but I need some police protection immediately.
On the line, minutes after midnight on an October Sunday in 2022, an almost eerily calm Tony Sirigliano.
It is related to September 11th, and people want to erase me from the face of the earth. I'm a Christian. I just need some help, and then the U.S. government will take it from here. I'm not crazy.
First at 12:30, breaking news just into our newsroom.
What a bad call to take. If I'm the 911 operator, I'm just hanging up. I'm just like, fuck this shit.
Alert about a family of 4 that is missing.
24 hours after the 911 call, the Siriglianos, Tony, Suzette, and sons Brandon and Noah were gone. And Suzette's mom, who lives with them and has dementia, was found wandering the neighborhood.
We don't see any signs of foul play right now. There's no signs of struggle inside the home.
The mystery of the missing family quickly captivated armchair detectives, and an alert gas station.
I bet you murder lover Linda was like, salivating at this one. She was probably all over it.
Clerk in the UP spotted the family first, 300 miles from home.
We really have no idea of what ties either one would have in that area.
600 miles and 6 days later, the hotel clerk in Wisconsin recognized the family, and police found them safe and unhurt. Case closed. Until now.
All I had in my mind was to get away and head north.
It's the fear and confusion Tony remembers most.
I thought maybe that somehow I was the devil, and I asked God if I was the devil to just burn me to a crisp right now, and I'd be yelling, looking at the sky. It
seems super cured. Seems 100% normal now.
Really bizarre stuff.
He was not in his right mind. He was not well.
What Tony didn't know at the time, at 51 years old, the IT specialist was experiencing
a red flag right there.
The first time, a psychotic break.
And when your mind fails you, it's kind of an odd thing. So it wasn't like I was hearing voices. It seemed like my mind that I'm used to, the internal talking that you're familiar with. But it just was saying crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the world was going to end very shortly by a meteor strike. That was just one of many concerns that I had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I can laugh.
That's extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't know. At that point, when I watched this yesterday, I was like, that laugh, that went straight to my brain right there. I don't know.
That was just one of many concerns that I had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can laugh.
Normal. 100% normal.
Now, but it was so crazy.
The Siriglianos reached out to Target 8, hoping to help illuminate a subject that desperately needs it, mental health. But there's something else, too.
Here is the infamous jar.
A couple months before the Siriglianos fled, Tony bought raw honey online.
When I ordered it on my mobile phone, I couldn't really read the letter and it looked like something I had purchased before.
It wasn't, but Tony didn't realize that right away and said he started adding the honey, a teaspoon or two, to his daily yogurt.
I didn't feel very good. I was having heart palpitations, and I thought it might be the honey.
Tony said that's when he noticed the Russian label, not his regular brand, and came across something online called Mad Honey. It's produced when bees feed on toxic nectar from rhododendron plants, mostly in Turkey and Nepal. Mad honey is known and prized for its
showing the drunk bear
intoxicating effect, especially since the social media debut of this super chill honey drunk bear in northern Turkey. In people, mad honey poisoning is hardly ever fatal, with symptoms ranging from low heart rate and blood pressure, confusion, agitation, vomiting, dizziness, and in very rare cases, and only at high doses, hallucinations.
I think this was about half empty.
Okay, so the Pooh Bear here eats all the honey, and then he goes bonkers and says, yeah, the honey made me do it.
We dumped it out. So I had that much of whatever it was.
The honey Tony bought was sold as regular raw honey, not mad honey.
Susan Samples wants to say this is all bullshit.
Its distributor told me there's no way the honey, which he
said... The only reason why Wood TV did this story is because they know this guy is must-see TV watching this dude talk.
...was imported from Russia was contaminated with anything. The FDA told me it has...
What type of idiot goes and buys raw honey from Russia when he can go to Aldi and get it?
Never had any complaints against that business. The Siriglianos are not convinced.
And that's when the problems began, and it really started, I guess, building up, and started having a lot of unusual thoughts, very vivid dreams, just strange behaviors. My poor wife went through a lot.
Was this just terrifying? I mean, what
No, it was fun.
What's going through your mind during this?
So there's nothing wrong with her, but she went along with it, Like if I said to my wife, Pooh Bear, there's people trying to get us. It involves 9/11 and the government. Let's go. And I packed her up and the kids in the car. We wouldn't even make it to the car. She would just beat the shit out of me. My God. Yoda World says probably needed something to go with this Chernobyl cranberry juice. Chris says that's when he noticed the Russian label. Yeah, how could you not notice the Russian label? Let's see. Justin says if he was eating a bunch of honey, the UP is probably the last place you should go considering all of the bears. Mental health advocates don't want them as their spokespeople, says murder lover Linda. David says that's the laugh of a nut job. Yeah, this just sounds like a horrible situation from beginning to end. The fact that Mrs. here went along with it, and I guess she's normal.
Oh, I knew that it was definitely some craziness
I take it back. She's not normal.
happening with him, and we were just trying to figure out the best way of trying to get him help.
I'm not crazy.
When Tony himself pleaded for help in that 911 call, Fremont police did a welfare check.
This is why I think we need to have less patience for people with mental health issues. I think we need to start having a little bit of a heavier hand with people. It's been years now that you can say and do whatever the fuck you want, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, he's got mental health problems. Let's help him. I think there should be some type of, code red you can do when this happens, just to see where that'll take us, because obviously the light-handed approach isn't doing anything.
And determined the Siriglianos were not in imminent danger. Tony disagreed.
And I was reading Revelation, which is, pretty heavy stuff, and just misinterpreting. And besides people trying to kill me because I knew something about 9/11.
One day after Tony's call to 911 in the middle of the night.
And all of a sudden, he turned over, and I kind of opened my eyes and looked over at him. He turned, his eyes popped open. He looked right at me and said, "We need to leave now."
Okay, so if I'm laying in bed and I say that to Pooh Bear, my nose is busted. She's going to punch me right in the face. And then I'll go, "Oh, sorry." At least the kids seem like they're normal.
We need to leave now.
She woke me up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she said like we had to go.
Suzette said she never felt threatened by Tony. Neither did their sons, Brandon, 21, and Noah, 17. When Suzette's mom, who had early dementia, refused to leave with the family, they reasoned she would be okay at home because Tony's mom would be stopping by soon. Tony insisted they leave their cell phones behind to prevent tracking. That's why Brandon tried to use the phone at that UP gas station. He wanted to call Tony's mom because he missed her.
He didn't know you had to press 1 before I put the phone number in, so it didn't go through.
The search is over for a Fremont family.
1 week after the Siriglianos fled their Fremont home, a Wisconsin hotel clerk recognized them from the news. Suzette and the boys were relieved.
So, by the way, this all happened. We're watching this because Dad reached out to the TV station and said, "I got news about Honey. You're gonna find it." No one has thought about these people since this story went away. Don O on the Patreon said this should not have happened. They should not be doing this story right now. It's almost like Wood TV should have had a mercy thing. I'm a little bit surprised. That just goes to show you that, in my opinion, them agreeing to do this story and put it out there, they're not doing the family any favors. They should have done them a favor and chosen not to do this story. Unless if this is their way of doing like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, look out for these folks, which maybe I don't know. I would have to talk with Susan Samples myself about what the intended outcome is what you hope for.
Because I really, really want to go back home.
We need to get home, and he needed help.
I was institutionalized for about 3 weeks.
Tony was put on antipsychotic drugs and then court-ordered.
Wait a minute. I thought it was just the honey. What's going on?
To 6 months of outpatient counseling. In his discharge summary, Newaygo County Community Mental Health reported Tony had been safely tapered off antipsychotic meds, has had no additional episodes, and no longer meets the criteria for severe, persistent mental illness. The report also noted that Tony had suffered what appeared to be a psychotic break triggered by the overconsumption of mad honey.
So they are actually saying it has to do with the mad honey.
Contained brain-altering neurotoxins. But the psychiatric hospital...
This is like a promotional piece for mad honey. I wouldn't be surprised if all of you jackasses have already added it to your Amazon wish list right now.
Hospital where Tony had stayed reported a different diagnosis, bipolar disorder.
Okay.
Though Tony notes the hospital
So
spent
different hospitals or different professionals saying different things. One saying mad honey, the other's saying bipolar disorder.
Time with him compared to Newaygo County Mental Health.
Mental health diagnoses are complex.
Dr. Bibhas Singla is a psychiatrist at Pine Rest, not the facility that treated Tony. Singla said paranoid delusions are a common symptom of mania.
And a lot of bipolar disorder can first present with mania, and then mania has paranoid delusions as one of the symptoms as well.
The Siriglianos said they'll never know for sure.
I don't believe that this guy was like 100% normal prior to the mad honey. I think that prior to him putting the mad honey in his yogurt, if you had talked to him, you'd be like, what the fuck's going on with this guy?
what caused Tony's psychosis. They dumped the honey when labs told them toxin testing would cost thousands and might not work anyway. Tony is back to working full-time in IT.
Please, I hope he's a stay-at-home employee, like works from home. If you work with Tony, I need some information. I need more information on this guy.
And everyone's doing fine, including Suzette's mom.
We're very thankful that the neighbors did step in and things worked out as they did, and she's doing well. And we're doing good.
Just left it. So Suzette's mom is there. That's another thing that's crazy because Tony says to Suzette, "We have to go. Leave everything here. Your mother's fine." And they just leave this dementia patient, and Suzette's like, "Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'll follow you through hell or high water." You idiot. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.